As a community, it's been 35 years since AIDS first reared its ugly head, and I think we have all learned that we're not going to get it from a toilet seat. I think we have all learned that these people who have HIV are your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, and your sons and daughters. And I think we've all learned to do away with the discrimination and stigma. Having said that, we haven't put it away. And we still live with stigma and discrimination every day, in every way. No matter whether you're a person living at the John Gordon home or an HIV positive individual who just works 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, there are those optics that you don't want your coworker to know that you have HIV. You don't care if they know you have cancer, diabetes, lupus, or anything else, but they can't know that you're HIV because that could make them look at you differently, and that you don't want while working alongside of them.
Things have changed significantly, but the problem is still stigma, and the problem is access to treatment for people who may be infected, who don't know. It's very important that people get tested, that people know their status, and that they access treatment. And I think one of the biggest barriers to that is stigma, that people don't want to identify to their families or friends as being HIV positive, and in many cases still for being queer.
Stigma is prevalent today, without a doubt. There is still a lot of misunderstanding about how people contract HIV. There's a lot of stigma and discrimination and labeling that comes. And when someone is afraid to tell someone that they're HIV positive for fear of being rejected, that's based in reality today. And it has a little bit of a different face than maybe it did years ago, but stigma is still prevalent today.
Stigma is still a huge problem in our society, and internalized stigma is, in my humble opinion, equally as big of a problem. As I said, you can sit in your new job at your new desk beside your new coworker and not want to tell that person anything about your life or your travels or what you've been through, what you're going through, or what you continue to go through, because that word, that AIDS, HIV, may very well change in a very negative way how your new coworker looks at you. So, and that stigma comes from my internalized stigma as to what I think they may think of me, and the outward stigma, because there are people who will look at me in a lesser light because of my HIV status.
HIV and aging. Those two words together sound wonderful, because people are living longer. People that are young today can expect, with good treatment and adherence, to hopefully live a very long time. So they will age.
HIV and aging is something that we are the guinea pigs for. We are the first generation of people who are HIV and aging. So a lot is going to be studied and poked and prodded about us, but we are aging, and quite shocked that we are and happy that we are.
I do believe that we will see a cure in our lifetime. I think that there is so many researchers that are really dedicated to working with HIV/AIDS, and so far we have come leaps and bounds in comparison to where we were 30 years ago, and just knowing more about the disease and what that looks like.
I believe that it is inevitable that a cure will come, and I'm hopeful for that. Because my God, you take you take the most essential, normal, beautiful thing, and you twist it by adding this disease to it. It has to go away. It just has to. And so my hope is that people continue to fight and continue to research and find that cure.
I'm incredibly optimistic that we're going to see an effective vaccination developed in the next few years, that we will see a cure, and certainly in my lifetime, and that I suppose the ultimate success would be for us to close our doors because people don't need us anymore. But until that happens, you know, I think that there is going to be a continued need for education, for prevention efforts, to fight the stigma and the fight for human rights, that all people have the right to health care. Not just because they have the good fortune of living in southwestern Ontario, but wherever they might find themselves in the world. The HIV fight has a long way to go to ensuring that all people have the same access to treatment.
This movement will be kept alive by the sheer volume of need of people who once lived with a virus and now live with the stigma of that virus. So our work isn't over. I don't know how it's going to look, but the need is still going to be very real.
I feel very strongly that out of all the illnesses that people can have, perhaps other than some very severe mental illnesses, I believe that this is the one where people face the most stigma and discrimination. The needs have changed. Needs have become, in many situations, really, really complex. And as the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes community partners to work together.
I think one of the things that's really important and that we've really come to value, certainly over the last 20 years, is the partnerships that we've developed in the communities. You know, our partnership with, which was the AIDS Committee of London, now RHAC, the John Gordon Home. Those partnerships, as well as many other partnerships across Ontario, have really enabled us to grow as an organization.
The courage to do what is right is the banner under which we do a lot of our work at Regional HIV/AIDS Connection and the John Gordon Home. And it's an incredibly important statement that, in my mind, embodies the history of the organization, and it's still a very important rallying cry today that it does take courage to stand up and vocalize a minority point of view. The fight for human rights across the world has taken a great deal of courage. And I think at its core, that's what we're fighting for.